pretty tight. Before we get going and do the roll call and the flag salute, I want to make an announcement. Yesterday I received an email from Lisa Checkley, and she resigned her position from Rmac. So we do have three vacancies now. Two vacancies, I'm sorry, two vacancies. And if anybody's interested, see one of us or Laura, and we'll explain to you how to fill out an application and go through the process. So you want to go ahead and do a roll call for us.
Blakely. Here. Carden is here. McKay.
Here.
Schaffner. Schaffner.
Dennis. Here.
McCardle.
Here.
And two vacancies.
And Blake. All right, we can all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance before we go into the community reports.
I'm standing. When are the minutes going to be posted on the website?
They will be. We're working on it this week. We can approve them. All we have is January. We're working on getting the minutes from November, December. They'll be posted as soon as we get those, and then January should be posted, right?
January's, February's are posted. March has not been posted.
Yeah, March will be approved tonight.
Yeah.
So we can't post them. We can't post them until they're approved.
We're not.
Next question. I've been going to the water district meetings. They asked me last week why I was coming. I said, because I want to see what Rmac's going to show up. Didn't come into your meetings.
What? I'm sorry. What meeting?
Water district.
Yeah, so
Restaurant community.
So Joel asked me over the weekend if I'd be willing to go to those. I've adjusted my schedule to start going to one of those every month.
Okay, some things that were said to me. They want a relationship with Rmac. They also said, because I got up and talked.
Yeah.
I'm gonna sit down. They're willing to let Rmac and get together with them and other people interested in the community about improving what's going on in the community, the parks, what all, in there for free on Saturdays. And people that are interested in the public are welcome, you know, but you guys need to get with them. There was a lady there that was complaining about the lack of communication. I came within a heartbeat of saying, remember what I said to you guys in January about using the water bill as a way to communicate with the community? And you guys go, oh yeah, great idea. Nothing's ever happened. You know, I almost said something, but it's not my place. I'm not a member of this board. But somebody's got to build relationships in this town. There's nothing, you know, it's blank. Nobody sees each other. Nobody talks to each other.
Absolutely. Just so I've actually been speaking. I'm with our president of our school board's right here. I grew up with one of my best friends is two of his kids. I grew up with them. We're committing to that already. So I'm committing to you that we are definitely going to open those lines of communication so we can have a more unified Roseman speaking on your behalf.
And I'm not sure where they are tonight.
But you're absolutely correct. You're absolutely correct. We've not done a good job of that yet, and we've not done a good job of that in the past.
We probably shouldn't comment on that kind of stuff right now. But noted.
Once again, I'm going to say this.
They're on our agenda.
Once again, I gave information to this committee. I gave it to the predecessors, and here it is now. It's going on 18 months, and nobody has yet to answer my questions. Same old, just a different day of the week.
Is your question that they're not communicating with each other?
No.
No, what is
She
it?
knows what I'm talking about. About the taxes I pay and 3 other subdivisions pay that nobody else is paying for the community pool.
Right. He has.
And I'm
a
asking
question.
why it's not being leveled across the board easily.
Right. He wants to know why, he wants his question answered as to why the taxes in his housing community subdivision, as well as 3 others, are not even and paying for the pool.
Yeah, I mean, the subdivision next door doesn't pay, yeah, they don't pay a nickel.
Right.
The other thing, just for information to the community, West Park, contractors for the county will start on Monday to clean up the mess because the contractor they had walked away. He wanted more money and the county said no. So that's why West Park and the area around that subdivision looks the way it does. And we're trying to get the same group in the county to start taking care of some of the other things in this community instead of relying on public works, because they're not doing their job. Anyway, I'm done.
Anybody else? Public comments?
Yeah, I got a question. The street cleaner used to come down our street. They don't do it anymore. Anybody know why?
What
No.
happens on your street?
Street cleaner. County used to clean our street. They haven't did it in about 2 or 3 years.
So I just recently got a magnet that it's supposed to be one day a month, like the third Wednesday. Can we do
Yeah,
that?
that's what I got. It's not the entire community, it depends on what tract you are in. So yeah, I would have to research
Yeah, we'll have to
what
make a
his
phone
tract
call.
is, and, yeah. I also know that there was one that in this area of the county that had to be retired because it was not functioning correctly anymore, and I don't know what the timeline for replacement is.
Would it be appropriate for him to see you after the meeting?
Sure.
Do you know who was
absolutely.
talking up here?
Yeah, you Laura.
Okay.
He knows me.
See her after the meeting.
All right, since no more public comments, Kern County Sheriff, floor is yours. We thank you for being here.
This is my first Rmac meeting. How does it usually go?
Can you just tell us what's going on in the community, any major arrests, any staffing level increases?
So staffing levels are still the same. I'll say the last few weeks I've noticed a definite increase in vehicle thefts or thefts from vehicles. So please, if you're able to park in your garage, park them in the garage. If you're leaving your vehicle on the street or in the driveway, ensure when you're going into your house at night that they're locked. You're not leaving money in cup holders, center consoles, or something that looks enticing for people to break the window and take them to. No major noteworthy arrests that I can talk about right now. Staffing levels are still the same. We're trying to do the best with what we have.
Do they still
I haven't seen as much of that in the last month or so. Mostly vehicle theft, so taking the whole thing.
What is your?
Al, what was your question? We couldn't hear you up here.
I've been worried about them stealing my Cadillac converter.
Oh.
I haven't seen much of that up here.
I know the state's passing a law that's supposed to stop that, right?
One don't stop everything, hopefully. Yes, sir.
What guys have said in the past, when they reported, they've talked about calls for service and the different kinds, that probably might be a static or equip whoever you want us to send to report on that.
I mean, we've had,
But I think I speak for the whole board by saying thank you for all that your department does.
I appreciate that. I know we've had a stabbing recently, and I believe a shooting where somebody's vehicle got shot. No arrests have been made either of those cases yet. They're still being investigated. No, big time, noteworthy cases I'm aware of in the Rosen area in the last month. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, yes, I'm new, so pardon me. I live at Roseman Hills,
Okay.
and we were involved in with that stabbing of that gentleman, and it took forever to get help to come. And how do we protect ourselves?
Unfortunately, that night we were on a call in Tehachapi, so I came from Tehachapi. And that goes back to the staffing issue. If we're getting sent to Boron, Mojave, and Tehachapi, unfortunately we're at the mercy of wherever we're coming from on our last call.
Okay, but what can we do as a
Talk to your board of
complex?
supervisors.
And I understand we're not offering $25,000 bonus for deputies.
I'm not sure what the current one is, but I think that's for relocating if you're already a police officer
really?
or a deputy somewhere else.
I read an article, the sheriff, for a long time ago. He said they can't get that lease.
All right, Fran,
We already
Fran's got her
got
hand
one
up
right
here.
now. There's supposed to be another one starting in the next few months.
Yeah, last question for Fran.
So, is there any news on us getting the sheriff's station?
I haven't heard a single thing. But that's all well above my pay grade.
Okay, thanks.
Hey, thank you very much.
Ron Dooley, volunteer service for the sheriff's department. We're still recruiting. We'll stick around a little while after the meeting. In case we really want to have to do. This is a very important thing in our community. I may let you know that we have succeeded in 9 candidates that are in the process. And this is more than any other CSU area in the entire county.
Good job. Good job. Thank you. Way to go. All right, CHP is not here. Kern County Fire Department, part of Assemblyman Lackey, I don't see. Laura.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Laura Lynn Wyatt. I'm a district director for Kern County Supervisor Zach Scrivener's office. I've got some updates for you guys today, particularly associated with the Rosemont community. I did a site visit at the community pool this morning. The new decking is about 2 days away from completely poured. The concrete contractors were there today. And I learned something that I didn't know was in the plan. They're going to be adding, there's existing shade structures out there, but they're also going to be adding 2 very, very large umbrellas to a couple of spots. I do have some photos on my phone. If anybody wants to see me after the meeting, I'll show you. The inside of the restrooms are absolutely beautiful. And so we're excited about that. We need lifeguards. We want to stay open 7 days a week. And in order to do that, based on labor laws for lifeguards, we have to have 15 lifeguards on staff. I've been trying to push it out on social media. We have received, I was told a couple days ago, there were 12 applications on file. That doesn't mean we have 12 lifeguards because they still have to go through the Red Cross certification process. And some people pass that and some people don't, right? So we still want to see some lifeguard applications come in because the county's goal is to have it open 7 days a week for the community. I wanted to update everybody on the skate park. The skate park that's planned for the park over off of Glendower, that is in final design stage. And they are currently pulling permits for additional parking area and walkways going from the parking lot directly to the skate park, things like that. So even though you don't see dirt moving, things are happening. We're working on it. And anytime anybody wants an update, just let me know. But that is in the works, and you'll probably see it go out to bid in the next 2 weeks, I'm being told, for a contractor to build the skate park.
So how long will it take after the bid is in and you guys pick a bidder?
Based on, so the design contractor is a company out of San Diego called Push Parks, and they do skate parks all over the world. And what he told me to expect from the time, the first day that they start to move dirt to skaters utilizing about 4 months is average. So, yes, sir.
Is there gonna be lights?
No. And the reason being there's some code issues because that park is in a residential neighborhood. So we don't want lights on all night long, So no, it will not be lighted. It will not be below grade. I get that question a lot, because we're in East Kern, Southeast Kern, and the wind blows, right? So if we have a traditional bowl that a skater will drop down into below grade, that's just going to be asking for litter and dirt and tumbleweeds and all kinds of stuff to collect in the bottom of that. So this particular design is all above grade. So that's all I have right now.
Thank you, Laura.
I'll be around after the meeting. Indoor skate park. So that would probably, in my estimate, quadruple the price tag. And or a private company would probably be the best way to approach that. This was a specific grant that the county obtained to do this type of project.
I was considering trying to do a little investing in putting the building here for the skate parks for the kids. There are so many community kids moving up there now.
Yeah.
And there's no activities.
No, I think it's a fantastic idea.
Skate in the dark,
Yeah.
a lot of participation.
Yeah, and maybe, I don't know if you guys are real familiar with Tehachapi, but Tehachapi used to have a Kmart, right? And the Kmart closed and Sears Holding, it was all tied up in court, it was this big thing. So we've got this ginormous empty building that's just sitting there, basically decaying. Now it's becoming a code compliance issue, So that's been talked about a lot, is some of these older
large brick and mortar stores that aren't as popular as they used to be, and a lot of them are closed. What do you do with those buildings? And that is an idea that I hear a lot. Trampoline park, indoor skating rink, like a roller skating rink, all kinds of stuff like that. But most of those projects come from private parties.
I thought maybe that would be a little bit for our community, so we don't
Yeah.
have to.
No, it's a great idea. It's a great idea.
All right.
Showing up to the elections, VFW, school board. Today we even had Kevin McCarthy's representative joining us today as well. So we had a very diverse group, and it's been very, very successful. We had Mojave Chamber of Commerce president show up.
Tehachapi.
Oh, I thought it was Mojave. Right?
No, she's from Tehachapi.
Tehachapi, my apologies. So for the record, Tehachapi, and a very nice person. We have a conference coming up in October that all the chambers are going to get together and kind of share our expertise and tips and tricks and things of that nature and at the conference. So really enjoy these meetings, and they're really successful. Do want to mention Colin's leaving us from Hydro Store. He announced that today. This will be his last meeting. Great guy, we love the guy. He's really good. And he's going to Germany. So good luck, Colin. Congratulations on the new job. Other than that, we got Armed Forces Day Parade, September Fest. We're going to have our first meeting next week. If there's anybody that wants to participate with that, let us know. We'll invite you to the meeting. And we're going to start coordinating that. VFW's promised to be a big part of that this year. And so we hope to have a huge outcome for the parade and September Fest itself. I think that's everything I can think of for the chamber right now.
Sounds good. Thank you, Jack.
Dennis had a question.
Do you know who your speaker will be next month?
It might, well, one of two people. It's going to be either Kevin McCarthy's representative, Jake, or it's going to be Barbara Gaines, our superintendent. One or the other. So he already had first dibs. If he calls me and says he's available, it'll be him. If he's not that Barbara's second, trust me.
No offense.
Third, fourth, whatever.
No offense.
Good.
We love
My
Barbara.
point is, this is a good time to promote that, because we got a lot of folks out.
Uh-huh.
Just thought I'd bring that up.
In terms of the guest speaker, yes, we do have some amazing guest speakers that show up at the chamber luncheon. So,
All right. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jack. Barbara, you're up.
Unaccustomed as you are to public speaking.
Yeah. Well, good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here, as always. I want to just let everybody know that graduation at Roseman High Early College campus is June 1st at 7 p.m. So if you hear some horns blowing and everything, it's just high school graduation that evening. We're really looking forward to that. We're going out to bid. We have an advertisement in the Roseman News and the Antelope Valley Press coming out, I believe, maybe Saturday and Monday for our advertising for bids for the new Roseman High cafeteria.
Oh.
This is a $15 million project. It's a beautiful cafeteria. The kids are in really dire need. The old facility just cannot accommodate the number of students on that campus. So we're very excited to get that project, the ground broken for that. They're coming out next week just to sort of assess the underground, make sure we don't have any asbestos or whatever might be flying around under there that we're not caught off guard with, that would increase the price drastically. We did go out and advertise for lifeguards, so I think some of those 12 probably came from Roseman High.
Yes, I think they did.
I think they did.
And the cadet corps.
And the
From
cadet
last
corps,
year.
yes, our cadet corps is amazing. We had our senior awards night on Tuesday night, and I can tell you, we had some amazing kids at Roseman High. And breaks my heart sometimes because the ones you hear about sometimes are always on this Facebook, but sometimes they're not even our kids, but we take the heat for them. We had 40 students Tuesday night who had a 4.0 from their freshman year to their senior year. That's quite an accomplishment. Yeah, we should all be very, very proud of that. And so lots of them going on to various different colleges, community colleges, four-year schools. We're very busy at this time. I can just tell you, it's crazy busy, but we're getting through the year. We're going to make it through. We have 3 sessions of summer school planned. 1 in June, 2 in June. Actually, 1 for our extended school year for our students with special needs. They have their own summer school, and then we have our regular summer school to continually try to close that gap in reading and math. And then we have another 3-week summer school in July. So plenty of opportunity for the parents to send their kids to school from 8 a.m. to noon, and they get breakfast and lunch. And so it's somewhat of a little fun activity in there in the middle of the day. Tropico, if you've driven by Tropico, you can see that the new track and everything is going in there, and we're just out of phase 1, and we'll be heading into phase 2 of that big project as well. And soon we're going to be starting over here at the old Roseman Elementary, so we will have 1, 2, 3, and we are going to add 5 new portables to West Park, because West Park's enrollment is going to be way over 1,000 students, and we have no more classrooms at West Park. No more classrooms, so we're going to drop in sometime this summer 5 new portables. So there is growth. They're coming in, and Roseman Elementary is over 900. So we're going to need at some point in time to have a conversation about building another elementary school in Roseman. Just don't know when and where. So any questions for me?
Can you talk about the wall?
Oh, yes. Roseman, Southern Current will take the lead on the wall. We're very excited about that. Yeah, that's exciting. I'm nervous. Another little big project, and everybody can be helpers on that. I want to welcome everybody in on that. They were out Tuesday, assessing the area at West Park to see at what angle they would place the wall and how it could best be viewed, and we can making sure we can accommodate all the traffic coming in and out. So we're very excited about that. We were able to find out that even though we're a school district and we have our own school funds, we can create a special account that will be primarily just to pay for the wall and anything that the wall requires. And we can accept donations made out to Southern Current Unified School District, and then as long as we pay it out, and once the wall leaves our district, the account gets closed. So we won't have a problem accepting the donations should anybody want to come forward with it.
Is that a C3?
I'm not sure how Robert will do it, but he verified with Kern County Superintendent Schools that we can do that.
How much needs to be raised to support that?
The cost to pay for the travel, etc., of the wall and everything is $7,500.
Yeah, but I was reading the other criteria that you need full-time and, lights and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So I figured that was probably $7,500 plus. And what is that plus?
I don't know, Fran, if we know what the plus is yet. The one thing that we talked about is we have you've heard me mention maybe about our community school, parent community center and the grant that we received. If we don't raise quite enough, our goal is to pull some funds from there because it is for community projects such as this. We opened a community center last month. I talked a little bit about that. And so if we need lights and we have to have someone there 24 hours a day, and have that open. And I also want to invite our neighboring school districts if they want to bring some kids to see that, because it's a beautiful replica of the Vietnam Wall, if you've ever seen the one in DC. This is a very beautiful replica and very historical event. So, yes.
What's enrollment at the high school?
At Roseman High School, it's about 800.
Tell us about the boys' baseball team and girls' softball.
Okay, well, and I honestly don't know, sir, because I've been all up and down
The boys-
today.
boys
The
won.
boys, did they win last night?
Yes, they won the league.
Oh, they won late. And the girls,
Girls are in playoff too.
yes, the girls are in playoff. The girls won the other night, what was it, like some astronomical number, it sounded like a football score.
And what's
The boys won
what-
33-4.
33-4, that's
What's
impressive.
that baseball
Yeah.
team?
They played.
Roseman's #1 in the league. They put them against the third place team.
Uh-huh.
They played Lee Binding, which was not good. Lee Binding has 35 students in their high school. Tomorrow they're playing Farball, which is going to be rough.
Now, Barbara, real quick, can you touch on, there's an incident that happened, and I was kind of dismayed. There was a lockdown. Everybody immediately got on Facebook. I heard there was a bomb threat, there was terrorists at the school. You were hearing everything. Can you touch on the importance of letting you guys do your job and, instead of adding to the confusion and, the rumor mill out there?
You just had to go there, didn't you? Let's see, today is Thursday. This was yesterday morning, I believe. The days are starting to blend together. And what happened was, and here's the sad thing. There were 3 students in either a white Fusion or a white Focus Ford. And may I just say, not one of those 3 students were Southern Current students. They say it, but they came from Mojave. Go ahead, quote. Anyway, they were driving around in the parking lot. They were in the parking lot at Roseman High first, but we weren't aware of the fact that they were in the Roseman High parking lot because they started school earlier. We didn't find that out until later on in the day. But they were driving around circling Tropico's parking lot. The principal at Tropico recognized one of the boys because he was on an inter-district transfer early on, and early in the school year, Southern Kern expelled him from all of our schools. So they were driving around. The principal went out in the parking lot and said, what are you guys doing? You need to leave my campus. And the passenger in that white Ford, it was either a Focus or a Fusion, we're not sure 100%, told the principal, who is equivalent of an 8th grader, mind you, get away from the car. Get away from the car. So at that point in time, 911 was called. The sheriff came, I'm sure, as soon as they could get there. But we went into lockdown mode because they kept circling as if the principal thought that perhaps the kid in the front seat might have been packing a gun. We didn't know. At that point in time, we do number one thing. What's that? Try to save our 800 plus kids at Tropico. We go into lockdown. All those kids behind locked doors, all staff behind locked doors. So, in the meantime, what happens is kids with their cell phones get behind a locked door and they're texting mom, oh, something, I heard there's a shooter or something, we're in a lockdown. And so then the parents go on, and sometimes, and I get it, I'm a mother, I'm a grandmother, I get it, our kids are so important to us, but then they start calling, what's going on? Why isn't anybody answering the phone? Because we're in lockdown. That's everybody is in lockdown. So, then the principal does an amazing job of the minute the lockdown was lifted. They start school at 8:45. The lockdown was lifted by 9:10. So then he sends out a message to all the parents. Yes, parents, we were in a lockdown. If there's something in the neighborhood, we're gonna throw it in lockdown every single time. We can't, well, maybe this is just, we don't know what their intention is. Let's just let the kids walk around inside the campus and someone could get hurt. So we will always err on the side of caution. That's our number one priority, is the safety of those 800 some kids. Even if the parents at the time don't like it, here's what I always tell my administrators. It's okay. Pardon?
Yeah, his phone number.
His phone number?
You can just give me it afterwards.
You can call the district number, that would be 661-256-5000. Extension, well, when they answer the call, just connect to the business office, or you can ask for extension 1113.
Thank you, Barbara.
You're welcome. Yes?
Is there anything in place for families that have food insecurities during the summer while the kids are out of school? They're not using these summer school.
And they're not going to summer school?
Correct. And at some point there was, because actually my site was one of the drop-off sites for food insecurities. Not sure if there's anything going to be in place this summer.
We haven't really had that discussion yet. We know we're going to feed our kids during summer school, and pretty much that'll be from June 5th all the way through part of August, part of July, and then school starts again August 9th. But let me see if we have a way of providing something.
Well, and I know previously there was stuff given out at the library for the summer too, so I don't know if that's gonna happen or not, and I think it was done by the county.
Right. A lot of our issues deal with the fact that our employees they also take vacation during summer, and I don't have a full staff necessarily. They work only a few hours a day to feed the kids, and then they go home, but something we can look into.
Thank you. We gotta move on. We're waving the clock here. Al from Roseman Community Service District, do you have anything for us? No. Okay, perfect. Perfect. VFW.
Nothing to sign.
Okay. Then Antelope Valley Citizens for Responsible Water Use.
Okay, yeah, very quickly. I'm Randy Scott. Usually talk on water issues. Probably all very well aware that we've had a lot of rain. We are approaching for the state one of the wettest water years on record. The water year starts 1 October, goes through 30 September. So we've also got a considerable amount of snowpack, over 300% of the normal for this time of the year. In the rainfall in the Antelope Valley, historical average is just under 8 inches. We've had over 14 inches so far in this water year. Good news, the reservoirs are mostly full. Many of them are above historical average. That is good news from the standpoint that both the state has determined they've gone from 75% to 100% allocation. What that means is they will allocate 100% of the water through the aqueduct to all the water users throughout the state. In the local area, that goes through AVAC as an example, or Palmdale Water District if you look further south. We never have used that much, so the good news of that is there'll be more water to store, to do water banking, which is storing the water underneath the ground. What that also means with the reservoirs being at or even above normal historical average capacity, there'll be quite a bit of hydroelectric power available this summer. And so in the past, I think, last year or 2021, it only provided 7% because we were in the drought of our power, of all the electricity we needed in the state. In 2017, which is kind of a wet year like we've got now, it was up to 21%. We won't know if that's going to affect any power bills. I don't know that anything's going to go down, but at least during the summer, we shouldn't hear about brownouts or any of those kinds of things during this coming summer because there ought to be plenty of water. There's even some predictions that we're going to have a bit more rain. In fact, I think the local radio station was talking about possibly rain tomorrow here. Relative to the drought, most of the state is no longer under drought conditions, and those are well defined. There's maps of drought and so on. Some parts of the state are still under what they call a moderate drought condition, but that probably is going to end up going away. What that has meant is that The governor of California has lifted many of the restrictions. We had a lot of restrictions that were put on as far as water usage, primarily as far as conservation and so on. There are still some level 1, what they call level 1 restrictions, that we should conserve water as best as we can throughout the year, depending upon, or not depending upon how wet the water year happens to be. There's always good news and bad news. I thought this was an interesting thing. Prices for canned tomato goods could rise as California farms are soggy after the record rains. Ketchup, spaghetti sauce, tomato soup, and salsa may be in short supply with higher prices this summer because we've had record rainfall which saturated the California tomato fields. So it's kind of like there's always a good news, bad news kind of thing. So the farms are the soil is too wet for planting, and the farmers have had to postpone their season planting and so on. One other thing relative, it doesn't really affect us too much in this area, but the governor's proposed budget for the upcoming year has got a total of almost $500 million in there for flood control. And that's most of the areas that we've read about throughout the state that have had floods. They're talking about whether or not there's going to be floods depending on how quickly the snow melts. But there is quite a bit of money put in the proposed budget for flood control in the parts of the California that need it.
Thank you.
Roseman's under level 1.
Level 1 restrictions. Basically, the state is going back to level 1 restrictions, which are desired savings like 15% and so on like that. Any other questions?
So in wet years, the price of pizza goes up?
Well, it could. Yeah, like I say, I just thought it was interesting. There's got to be a downside sometime.
It's already going up, Jeff.
Yeah. All right. Before we move on to our guest speakers, just want to recognize Bob Mislett. He's our school board president. He's in attendance with us tonight. And we have Nick Holland from Kern County Animal Services here. Nick, the floor is yours.
Hey everybody, I'm going to leave here depressed because I'm a pizza and spaghetti guy.
Take over my house, my wife does spaghetti tonight.
I was raised on pizza and spaghetti, and I'm going to break the bad news to my family.
The spaghetti trees will still survive.
Although I am Italian, so we can always use garlic and butter.
Oh.
Yeah. Like I said, my name is Nick. I'm the director of County Animal Services. We deal with some of the same issues that the Kern County Sheriff's Department does with staffing. Right now, we have 12 animal control officers for the entire county. So it's tough for us to get to remote areas, especially when we have an officer that's, maybe in Metro Bakersfield that needs to come out here. But we always try to do our best to make sure we respond to the community when there's calls for aggressive animals. One of the biggest things that we're really trying to bring to Roseman and some of the other local areas is spay and neuter. There is a significant and alarming lack of spay and neuter available to communities all across Kern County, really all across the state. There's a lack of veterinarians, there's a lack of veterinary professionals, so that's a registered veterinary technician. Both of those things are combining to make spay and neuter and just access to veterinary care difficult to come by. To live in a coastal community, it's probably not such an issue, but in the Central Valley, veterinary care is hard to come by right now. So spay and neuter is important. Our shelters are packed. And so we're trying to bring spay and neuter using the Board of Supervisors funding to the remote locations in the county. So we've done 2 spay and neuter clinics in Roseman this fiscal year. We did 2 spay and neuter clinics in Mojave. We did 2 spay and neuter clinics in Boron, and we did 2 in California City. So we're just trying to continue to bring spay and neuter out here as often as we can. It's costly. There's a contractor that provides the spay and neuter services. It costs $7,000 for us to bring them out. The clinics that we had here were incredibly successful. I think we did 42 spay and neuters in one day and 45 the next.
Wow.
That's actually a successful clinic. It's costly to do so, but we're going to continue. Next fiscal year, we want to try to repeat the same pattern, at least 2 clinics. The other thing we want to try to do is bring more vaccination clinics to keep your pets healthy. We were actually the most recent Roseman spay and neuter clinic was March 9th. That was the 45 animals, mostly dogs that were fixed. But we do have a clinic. Unfortunately, it's not in Roseman, it's in Mojave though. We have a vaccine clinic that's October 14th. That's a Saturday. and you can obtain your rabies vaccination, your parvo distemper vaccination. Your parvo distemper vaccines are free. That'll protect your pet from a devastating illness. But you can also get a microchip for your pet at those clinics. You can find out more information about spay and neuter at those clinics.
When was it?
I'm sorry?
When was that one?
That is Saturday, October 14th. And the other thing that we just recently started to try and make an effort to do, we've done it, is we got some grant funding to start an events team. And the events team's task is to take some of the shelter pets, specifically some of the shelter pets that we've gotten from the area, spay and neuter them, microchip them, and then bring them out to the community at adoption events. So we have done 3 adoption events here just in the last 3 months. We were at the Foster's Freeze twice, and then we were at the grocery outlet once. And then we're going to be back here June 3rd. So we'll be at Foster's Freeze again, June 3rd.
Adoptions?
I'm sorry?
For adoption?
Correct. Yeah, what we're doing is the animals that we do impound from Rosamond, the good ones, we're making sure that we spay them, neuter them, microchip them, and then bring them out to the community to place them up for adoption here. So like I said, we'll be at Foster's Freeze June 3rd. It's from 11 to 2. I'm not a social media guy. I probably should be. If you are, follow our Facebook page. We put out a lot of our information about resources for your pet. Not only that, but events like that.
Do you also do news releases?
We don't do too many press releases. Not about community events like that. A lot of it's in either our website or our Facebook page. We have all kinds of social media that somebody.
The guy with the camera is Roseman. If there's
Yes,
maybe we can get it to him.
He's covered some of our events before.
Whenever anybody needs any information locally needs to get Roseman.
Sure. And I'll leave. I have my cards. If anybody wants one of my cards,
Yes.
I'd be happy to email any of you when we're having an event here locally.
Yeah. Is there a possibility? I know we don't have a facility out here. Hopefully, keep our fingers crossed, that'll change in the near future.
Yeah.
But is there any way that the county could partner with Cal City and we could take the dogs there, and then you guys pick them up from Cal City and take them to Bakersfield?
It's funny you say that. Yeah, for those of you who don't know, we used to, up until June of 2020, we had an animal shelter on the Mojave Airport base. And for a lot of different reasons, it closed. The county did not have the money to build a new one. The Bakersfield location is antiquated, and that needs to be replaced as well. So there has been that conversation that's come up about the Cal City animal shelter. Now, California City did approach me about 2 months ago and we've been communicating back and forth about the possibility. So 3 weeks ago I went out and I visited the police chief, and we toured it's not really a tour, it's a pretty small facility, but took a look at the facilities, and we're kind of engaging in a conversation about what that would look like, what kind of contract, what the cost would be for them, for the county to just take over operations of that shelter. It's a small shelter, it's not super close here, but I know that you guys are lacking resources, especially for stuff like vaccines and where to take a dog if you find it. So it might be nice to be able to have a resource like that, at least in Cal City, until we can get something tomorrow.
Exactly. That'd be great. Because that's what I hear a lot. That people find the dogs, they're friendly, they're holding on to them.
They know where to take it.
They don't want to go all the way to Bakersfield to drop it off.
Yeah, I've actually gotten some criticisms from Los Angeles County because they're saying that some of their shelters across the border are getting inundated with pets that are being found in this area.
So two things. First, you said you were trying to bring a dog.
I couldn't do it. We had an event that we went out to tonight, actually. So most of the adoptable dogs.
So when we did the event at Grocery Outlet, we actually paid for a couple of the dogs.
Oh, right on. Thank you.
So we were really happy to do that. My wife
Can I just interject there? When we were planning events and we started looking at this area, and we had Foster's Freeze and Grocery Outlet contact us, we were like, there's no way someone's going to adopt a dog at a grocery outlet, right? Every single dog we brought out has been adopted.
Well, one of them went back at Grocery Outlet. The one that was sick the whole way here ended up going back. It was
I think it got returned.
Yeah, that was hard.
Was Carson? Oh.
Yeah, my wife was like, we need another dog. And then your girl was like, but you guys are allowed to have 4 dogs because I have 3. So like, no, you can take one more home. But so you mentioned a minute ago that we have a huge need for veterinarians for the spay neuter program.
Yes.
Are you currently recruiting for that program? So if like one of us had a cousin or a uncle who had a veterinary clinic, they call them. And how do we do that? How do we get that to you if we find a vet clinic?
That's a really good question. So I'll preface the answer with this. Our facility takes in about 12,000 dogs and cats a year, and that number is rising, unfortunately, rapidly. 12,000 animals, you can imagine the type of veterinary care that needs to be provided on a daily basis. We do not have a veterinarian. We also have a need for what's called a registered veterinary technician. It's like what an RN would be to an MD, and they're licensed through the state. So we have 4 funded positions, a veterinarian and 3 registered veterinary technicians, and none of them are filled. The veterinary position has been vacant for about 3 years. The compensation starts at $200,000. If you think of a second career, start going to school now. About 12 years. But no, we're struggling. We do have that opportunity. We're working with recruiters. We're advertising all over the country. It's very difficult to find veterinary care right now. Very difficult to find veterinary professionals, especially to bring in to the Central Valley.
And then what I was thinking too more was like for the voucher program you guys have there. Like everything's that way because there's just nothing found here right now. And there's a place in Simi Valley, but that's just as far. So if we found like a clinic or like an actual veterinary clinic that wanted to take part of the program, can we get them to you?
Absolutely. I will leave you my information.
I have your number. You and I have texted several times.
Yeah, absolutely. And if they're willing to bill the county, yeah, they can accept our vouchers. It's a $20 copay. And it covers the entire cost of the surgery.
On your Facebook page, you have a direction on how to donate to your cause.
Actually, yes.
Okay.
There's also a link right on the website, kerncountyanimalservices.org. Click donate.
Kern County what?
Animalservices.org. Interestingly enough, somebody walked into our facility about a month ago and gave us a check for $50,000. I've never experienced that before. And I almost passed out. And it paid for 3 more spay neuter clinics. So,
all right.
Big thanks to that guy.
Yeah, do you know what the lack of veterinarians is attributed to?
You know, that's one of those things that's being studied. A lot of veterinarians have retired. A lot of them left the business after the pandemic and never went back. There's also only 37 veterinary schools in the entire country. And so to get into veterinary school, let alone obtain your DVM, is an arduous and complicated process. So on top of that, a veterinarian takes on as much student debt as an MD does. And the pay is not the same. And so that's another reason why if you are a veterinarian, you're seeing compensation skyrocket because there's such a lack of qualified licensed veterinarians. And there's a bunch of reasons why. There's a lot of burnout in the veterinary industry too. I'm not saying there's not in the human medical industry, but veterinarians, there's a high rate of suicide in the veterinary industry. It's a difficult job. And there's a lot of different reasons, but I think that's kind of why.
I'm just curious, I've never really heard anything.
Yeah, they estimate that by 2030, there's going to be a gap of about 15,000 veterinarians in order to provide care to the amount of animals in the country.
Thank you, Nick, for making that drive all the way down here.
Yeah, no worries.
Okay, our next speaker, Peter Folks, he's with Saracosa. We have a tremendous need for law enforcement officers. Kern County's hiring. Tehachapi, I'll let him get to the nuts and bolts of it, but they're going to be doing an extended format academy. Normally academy is what, about 6 months?
About 6 months.
And then this one you go, how long is each module?
Each module will kind of vary, so it gets progressively longer and longer, but the first one's 8 weeks long in a part-time format, and then it carries on to 10 weeks long, and then the last one's 16 weeks long. that entire sequence of 3 different courses all adds together to be equal to a regular full-time intensive academy.
Yeah, so during the week, during the evenings, and then on Saturdays, and so I'm going to turn the floor over to you.
Thank you. So I'm representing Saracoso College tonight. This is a kind of a crossover boundary area for us with Antelope Valley College. But I can speak on a couple different items if people have questions about some of the career tech and vocational. I'm lucky enough to be in that division. So I'm the department chair and director of public services, and our programs are growing nonstop right now. It's kind of out of control growing. And good news is it's being backed by funding from the state. So we had a hard push about 10 to 5 years ago for academic education and transferability to 4-year schools. That's all set up, ready to go. We have those programs in play now, and now the push, the cycle, the phase that we're in, the pendulum has swung back to short-term certificates and vocational training. So that has driven what we had for a very long time was a modular format academy. Like I said, it's a sequence of 3 courses called Module 3, 2, and 1. It's in reverse order because that makes it extra, easy to follow. But then it was offered for about 20 years only in Ridgecrest. I came on board in 2016, and then we were sort of like in an area we didn't know if we were going to keep the program or not. I decided to take it over because I came from law enforcement and I had a decent understanding of how academies run. And what we ended up doing was planting it here in Tehachapi so that we can help KCSO get back up to what their required numbers are. We also provide the educational attainment credit for everyone that goes to the Kern County Sheriff's Academy for their full-time police officers status, their Deputy Sheriff's Academy, and their Corrections Academy. So now everybody who goes to the Academy starting this year is acquiring enough units to be halfway towards the degree, and a degree will become a requirement for first field operational status by 2025. So we're trying to keep up and ahead of the curve with the state legislative pushes, and so everybody that's gone through will be able to sort of level up and upskill people from the entry-level positions into supervisory and management positions as they go on. That's a big retention component for a department that has 600 plus people and is operating majorly under that threshold currently. So we work with both of those things, but our role here is to provide evening and weekend opportunities for people that might not be able to quit their job to go do 6 months because most of the people that go into that academy have to be hired first. So they have to go through this entire hire process first to go say, yeah, you can come. And then if you're like me and in week 10 you come off the monkey bars wrong and break your ankle, I was out of a job literally and had to wait until I could get picked back up and went back through the academy. So I was able to do 40 wonderful weeks in the academy instead of 26. But but within the modular program, what happens is if there's life that gets in the way, or there's an injury, or there's something else that happens, people are able to stop at a particular point in time, and they earn a certificate that's a state-validated certificate. So the first one has things like some animal control officers have PC 832, which is your basic arrest and firearms courses, and then the next level allows people to go out and work with another patrol officer as a reserve. A lot of those people are volunteers, so we have a lot of folks that come through that want to be part of the community. We are not yelling in your face, putting people's face in the dirt type of an academy. We're an academy that takes care to use scenario-based training as to what actually goes on in the field. And then once people go through level 1, they're certified to the same extent. And then they can come on as an academy lateral. So we are working in support of KCSO and other agencies, because we go all the way to Colville. So we have to serve Mammoth Lakes, Mono County, Inyo County, Bishop City, Cal City PD. Kern Parks has hired 6 of our folks that have come out of the academy at level 2. And so they're employable across a variety of levels, and it works to the individual's level. So that's available now. This will be our 4th one starting in fall. It's run Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday nights from 6 to 10, and then Saturday is 8 hours long, pretty much from 9 to 5 on Saturdays. That runs for 4 months. At the end of that, somebody can go out and officially work in the field as a police officer under particular supervision status. The next step is working with BPD and KCSO, who's obviously staff-strapped right now, but BPD is able to help support level 1, which will be a huge thing. Right now there's only one level 1 academy in the next 2 years in all of California. And there's somewhere around 15,000 people sitting at level 2. So we really need to move towards offering those programs. And so all of that is happening here within just about a 35-minute drive. We have people that come all the way from Victorville, San Bernardino, Whittier, Long Beach, and then up north all the way up to Madera, Merced, that come down for the program to come to Tehachapi to do it. So any questions?
Peter, is
Yes.
there a entry-level age and a top-out age?
Yes, there is, and so there's some changing standards. So what's happening is the requirements are increasing, but the training entry level status hasn't quite caught up with that yet, and recruitment is way behind. So if it's bad right now, it's about to get a whole heck of a lot worse because age requirements have gone up to 21 when it used to be 18 for any sort of ancillary positions that get positioned like a sheriff special officer. So like a special deputy position, might work at the courts, might work in a jail, something like that. Used to just be 18. That's now moving towards 21. So that's what the minimum requirement is. On the other hand, the full-time police officer status is going to go up to 25 in the year 2026. And they're going to have an AA degree at minimum to be able to just be a regular old police officer. So with that, hopefully pay becomes commensurate. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I was just curious because I'm not familiar with the program. I'm trying to understand the scope of this. Is this separate from the actual academy?
It is a post-certified academy. It's just a different format. It's like a different flavor.
Instead of going 6 months straight, you're breaking it up into sections.
Yeah.
But you're getting the same amount of training, but not all at once. You're just breaking it up into sections.
Correct. And the kind of, because we offer it in the part-time format, the experience is different. We know there's people in the community who want to go out and volunteer versus who want to go and get paid. So we adjust the academy appropriately to that so that we're not running 6 mile nights. We simply don't have the time to run 6 miles every night. It's not a requirement for an officer to actually be able to do that. So what we do is we spend our time doing scenario-based training, lots of firearms, lots of arrest control, lots of civil rights, constitutional rights, things like that.
So it's kind of modularized based on the needs.
Yeah, basically, modularized based on that. So we ran hard through the pandemic. That was tough, but we've put out about 65 people now in the last 4 years through that program. 75% have been hired locally. So we're calling that a success. The rest of the school has leveraged some of the vocational success. We now have a full welding program going on up there. We just bought 4 new welding simulators. We have our dual enrollment programs going crazy at Tehachapi High. I just started also a wildland firefighting academy at Tehachapi, and then we also have one in Bishop. So we're starting a forestry, outdoor recreation management, and the wildland firefighting is kind of the basis, the foundation for that program. And people will go out and they get employed seasonally to start. They come back, they get the next level of industry level certification, and then they go back out as like crew boss. Then they can come back for the 3rd time, and they can come back out as higher level administrative management with a degree in forestry and transfer anywhere they want to go. Plus they have work experience.
This is a fire. Do they have an age minimum age limit?
That is 17. Generally, that's a higher thing. So we got, out of the last class up here, we had 10 folks because it was kind of a last minute thing we were able to start. So we started at mid-January. Without advertising it before that, 9 of the people came from the high school. There were 17 and 18, and 4 people got hired directly onto the seasonal crew with Kern County Fire. Battalion Chief Brandon Asher of the Air Ops Unit, he's the one that teaches the courses. And then up north, we had 25 at the Bishop program. They all got employed with U.S. Forest Service and BLM for seasonal firefighting immediately after the class concluded. And that was actually a dual enrollment class in the high school.
So that could be something that high school seniors could
Absolutely.
go right into a career.
And it's starting in fall, just after fire season concludes, so that we can have our instructors available and they're not gone on a helicopter somewhere in some other state. So it's starting November 1st. Hopefully we get another solid wet year. Starting November 1st, and it will end, it's only 6 weeks long. And it's 1 night a week, Tuesday nights for 4 hours, and every other Saturday for 6 weeks. And they walk out with their Critical 80 National Wildfire Coordination Group, it's called NWCG, certification that's required by any department to walk onto a fire line and start cutting line. They can be dropping in from helicopters, doing whatever else. So that is there, and it's brand new. Also in the pipeline is an airframe and power plant mechanic, FAA certified airframe and power plant mechanic. That's going to our curriculum committee in the fall. So it should be live by, I would say, fall 24. That's kind of like our cycle. And then we just got our nursing authorization. So by the State Board of Nursing, we now have 10 clinical spots open in the fall for the Ridgecrest Regional Hospital. So that will go, then we have CNAs, LVNs, or LVN CNAs, and full-on nursing now available. It's starting there. Hopefully we're we're working with Adventist Health to get some clinical positions open. That's the big hang up there, is that you have to have the externship in clinical part inside the hospital, and we need to have instructors qualified inside the hospital. So we're hoping that the Hatchby Hospital will be able to provide us 5 to 10 spaces there. And then after that is a minute probably would be the next location we'd be doing. So, yeah.
How do you get the word out? I'm assuming, boy, I hate to use that one. But I'm assuming that you're working with school districts to say, here's all the stuff we've got. Can you get the word out to your counselors and that kind of stuff so they can get the word out to the kids? Have you been in touch with? Has he been in touch with you?
Here is specific because we're on border territory, so I came sort of. I'm on a secret mission here across the border of ABC's area. Please put that on the recording. Because what we do is we butt up over a service area right here, and there's some legacy that exists with that. So us coming out this direction, those programs are not available at ABC, so that's also part of why I'm able to come in.
Those programs, I'm president of the board of ABC, and those programs are very much, we have a bachelor's in the airframe. Those programs are all available.
Police Academy.
Well,
The police academy is not.
Wildland
The others
firefighting?
are, yes.
Yeah. Oh, interesting. Well, then I'm here. You can tell them. And I'm a faculty member, so it doesn't matter. But part of the reason why we don't come out to here is because there's just a legacy of crossover service area. But for us, we do have the largest service area in the state and actually in the country at 18,000 square miles. So it's very difficult to cover that area effectively, and all of it's rural, right? So it's very hard to get out and reach people, but you might have a cousin, you might have an uncle, you might have a nephew, somebody that might want to know this information. Yes.
So, do you have like social media that we can share? Like, how can we help?
Yeah, absolutely. Saracosa Tehachapi is our closest campus.
What is it?
Saracosa Tehachapi.
And that's
Although,
like the Facebook?
yeah, we're also on the base. We also have a location called Eastern on the base.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
All right, hey, thank you very
You're
much.
welcome. Thank you.
A lot of great information. Right. We're gonna. All right. Everybody have a chance to look over the minutes from March. Emailed them out. It's on the front.
Spell your name right, Dennis.
Yeah, thank you. So are we at the point in time when you want to,
I want to see if there's any correction. I want to make a motion.
any improvements or corrections to the March minutes?
Yes, sir.
Are there any?
Are there any corrections to the March minutes?
Well, I would move that we accept the minutes for the March meeting.
A second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Abstain. I was not here.
Okay, so- Oh, you guys.
She can't second because she was absent.
Oh, can you second? She wasn't here.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Sorry.
I don't know. You were-
No, thank you. Thank you very much. I thought I wasn't here.
Pat. All right, going back to, then we don't have to vote on the April since there's
It
no.
was, yeah.
So going to old business,
What's going on with April?
we didn't have a quorum, we have a meeting.
Oh, okay, so there's no minutes to approve.
I just throw them in there for the guest speakers.
Just notes.
Yeah, just notes. We're calling it a board member's area of involvement. So what we wanted to do is have each board member be a liaison with public safety, public works, with animal control. So if you guys in the community have a problem, instead of getting frustrated trying to find out who to talk to, we're going to put it on our Facebook page. You just call one of us, and we'll take care of the problem for you and get back to you. So instead of duplicating and everybody calling and inundating that one person, we figure we're going to have one board member responsible for several areas of responsibility. And like if you have a problem with the Sheriff's Department or CHP, you call one of us and we'd make that phone call for you and say, hey, I've got some concern, or one of our constituents has some concerns going on. What can you tell me? Or how can we rectify this problem? Then we'll get back to you. So any questions from the board? I think we discussed it at a couple meetings. We just haven't been able to vote on Any further discussion
I
on?
haven't really raised my hand.
I have a question about the way that they're broken up.
And this was just an idea, so.
Okay.
No big deal.
Oh, well, some of these are under the same departments, like code enforcement and,
That's why we're having a discussion, that's why we're having a discussion. If you wanted several to group them together, that's fine.
I got it.
Okay, yeah. So, yeah, this is kind of an idea thrown out to you guys to kind of get what positions are out there.
Okay, so we really haven't voted on if one accepts this list.
Right, no, basically, we're voting on if this is something we want to do, is have a board member area of responsibility. And then the second part of that, if it passes, then you would decide what area of responsibility you want to take.
Gotcha. Are we prepared at this point to?
Any further discussion?
I would make a motion that we move forward with this idea.
I'll second.
Well, we probably need to kind of state what that is, a little bit more succinctly than what you just said.
Make a motion on having a board member area of involvement.
Yeah.
We adopt the areas of responsibility as written, someone to attend meetings for the board supervisor, someone for public safety, someone for roads, transportation, waste management, someone for schools liaison.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
So I heard a first and a second, but I didn't hear everyone voting. Is the discussion still ongoing? I just
Well,
need clarification on that.
what we're really doing is defining the motion. You know,
Is our first discussion okay, or is that not specific enough?
well, I think that saying a little bit more succinctly that we adopt the
So is that the motion?
concept of having a board member or two assigned to each area of responsibility is probably the right way to say it, and I think it's really what you wanted to say in the motion.
Ms. Chrissy, would that be correct, Chrissy?
So to clarify, just what you want to do is have one or two people have a specific area of involvement based on department. Is that what?
No, basically, the gist of the motion is to adopt a member's area of involvement, where each board member would take an area, be a county or a liaison with, CHP, sheriff, or code enforcement. But the first motion would be to vote on.
You can only do one motion.
No, I'm sorry. No. The motion would be board members' area of involvement. Where the question is, do we need to be more specific?
Just want to adopt
Well,
the process.
And this phrase, it looks like it was a vote on whether or not Rmac wants to have the board areas involved.
Right.
Yes.
Yes.
So that would be the basis for the motion. I mean, if you want to break it down later, that's okay.
Okay.
But right now, the motion would be based on whether or not to actually have that area of involvement.
Okay. So we'll leave it.
Yeah.
Okay. Any further discussion?
No, that clarifies.
Perfect. All right. Do I have a second?
I did.
All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. And then.
So here's my question then, Joel. Are we going to decide on these areas right now, like over the next several minutes? Has everyone decided what they would like to do?
Or should we be prepared
Then we
to
can
come
assign
back?
it?
You know what?
Or do you want to
It doesn't sound like everybody's
table
prepared.
that?
Why don't we come back next month with?
And actually do that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I move that we would table that.
Okay.
To actually determine what everyone's doing at the same time right now.
That seems reasonable.
So it wouldn't be tabling, it would just be a further discussion.
It'd be a further discussion on what areas people are going to take.
All right, so I'll make a motion that we
Do we need to make a motion?
move
No
for.
motion is needed for that.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Perfect.
Perfect.
All right. And then with new business, I'm going to turn the floor over to Laura. It's a discussion on potential improvements in the intersection of Roseman Boulevard and Glendower/B Street.
Yes, thank you, Joel. Okay, so this was placed on the agenda tonight at Supervisor Scribner's request, and it came based out of a meeting that we had
Now it's been a couple of months with some of the lack of quorum issue, that we weren't able to get this piece of business completed. So now it's on the agenda for tonight. There was a group of us, it was Fran Thompson, Ms. Gaines, myself, Caltrans and CHP engineers, and Public Works engineer. The reason for the meeting is, as you probably all know, the intersection of Rosemont Boulevard and Glendower / B Street, if you go straight across, is an issue, right? So we pulled some stats, and since January of 2022, there's been 24 traffic accidents at that intersection, 9 of which were injury accidents, and those are just the ones that were reported.
Right.
Those are just the ones that there was a police report taken. Some people just exchange information and move on their way, right? So, but 24 accidents at one intersection in that time frame is a lot. That's excessive. So, we're bringing this before Rmac tonight. Like I said, at Supervisor Scrivener's request, he would like Rmac to form an ad hoc committee for this project, take the lead, help with some community outreach, be involved in the planning meetings. What can be done? There were a lot of things, a lot of ideas that Caltrans brought to the table as far as their off-ramps, the way the off-ramps are lined out, the way the lights are timed and work. All kinds of things were brought to the table. So that's the basis for this agenda item, and I'll let you take it from there.
Any further discussion regarding forming an ad hoc committee?
Yeah, so would that mean, would we want to form a committee with like members from other bodies, like the school board and our CSD? Or is it just us?
No, it would be representatives from Rmac coming to that table with Ms. Gaines and myself and Caltrans, and then being the liaison between what happens in those meetings and the community. We're gonna have some business owners that need to be, met with and talked to, some community members, people that live, say, on Glendower, maybe some community outreach there. That would be the role of this ad hoc committee.
Okay.
Well, I would like to be included in that ad hoc committee.
You're already on the committee.
Okay, good. It's not going to stir that whole
Do I have a motion to form an ad hoc committee?
You can't do a motion because it's not on the agenda.
Yeah, it is.
No, it's a discussion, it's like the vote actually has to be on the agenda in order to do a motion.
And formation of ad hoc committee? That's not good enough?
No, I didn't see formation on there. The version that I was sent is it says discussion of potential improvement. Is there a different agenda that wasn't sent to me?
That I'm not aware of. I have discussion of potential improvements to intersection of Roseland Boulevard and Glendower, B Street, and formation of an ad hoc committee.
So it sounds like it needs
Okay,
to
the
be.
version I have doesn't say formation of an ad hoc committee, but you actually can't do a vote unless it specifically says vote on the agenda.
I made, okay, gotcha.
So it's a wording on the agenda issue?
Yeah.
Why do you have to vote?
It doesn't say vote, that's
Why do you have to vote to form a committee?
So,
Why do we have to agendize forming a committee?
Why do you have to vote to form a
If you
committee?
make a
Why can't
motion,
you
it
just form a
has to be
committee?
agenda. If you want to do a
Just
vote,
form a
it has to be
committee.
agenda.
Do we need to vote to form a committee?
can we form a committee without a motion?
You can assign people to it.
Okay.
Just do that.
Okay, yeah, I'll do that.
The ad hoc committee, because like according to the bylaws, there has to be at least one officer on,
Okay.
committee.
Yeah, but you can form a committee.
All right. So do I have,
So no vote.
okay, do I have anybody would like to sit on this?
And then either you or I, so.
I have to sit on it. All right, so we're
Just let me
going
know when they are.
to have Dennis and myself on the ad hoc committee. And then moving down to director referrals. Dennis, you have anything?
Oh,
Janine?
I do not.
Nope.
I have nothing.
wants us to encourage volunteers to want to be on the, we have vacancies.
Oh, yeah.
No waiting, step right up.
Yeah, Little League is
You know you
looking
want to
for
serve,
board
you know who you
members.
are, raise your hand.
Who else is looking for help? If you know anyone that like is into sports or into kids, you know, Little League's always looking. I had to umpire. Like they pulled me out of the stands last Friday to umpire a game.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, I was like, "Are you kidding?" Then I felt like Bob Vincelette. I want to call him for travel, even though it's the wrong sport.
I'm surprised I didn't get the call.
So they're needing help for the community for things like that. Our kids need to be supported. If you know how to keep score, maybe you can volunteer. Because, for instance, on my son's baseball team, one mom has done every home game she's had to keep score. She hasn't been able to watch the games, and it's like somebody else needs to step up, and it's tough because as parents we want to watch. So if you're not doing anything, they were asking for help. Basketball, football is signing up now. There's being football signups. What else happening in the community?
I'm going to plug June 3rd, 8 to noon, the bulky day. So if you have any bulky items that are, when you can start the spring cleaning, or get stuff that was left over from your spring cleaning that you want to get rid of, Waste Management on Sierra Highway from 8 to noon. You can drop off your bulky items there. Just no hazardous materials. They're going to be having one in July in Mojave where you can take your paints and your paint thinners and your chemicals. I think they set up to 50 pounds for one container, 125 pounds total. And that's over Mojave. So that is all I have. That's it.
I move that we have a meeting.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor of adjournment?
Aye. Thank you, Chrissy.